Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I want to go to Megan Mobbs, if I can, please, first. Maybe the only one, but the time we have. We have heard a lot of discussion about families, women, safety, people being able to afford housing, people being able to afford a job that they may have to drive to, people, middle America, families, women, children, education. Can you please talk to us what I believe is about the administration's excessive spending that has caused inflation, a border that is open where we do not have enough housing for people, cities and crime impacting our schools and communities, and lastly, the attack on women that has occurred by allowing transgenders to compete against women, thus taking away their opportunity to find success at even national championships. Can you give us an overlay of that? We know that you are here today to talk about Center for American Safety, Security, and Independence. I think they are taking this away from middle-class America.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate the question. And specifically, I'm here to talk about kind of foreign policy and national security failures. And what I can say about that is that when we fail to demonstrate safety and security both at home and abroad, the most vulnerable are always impacted. And the most vulnerable are typically the elderly, women, and children. And we are seeing an inability of women to feel safe in their communities. There is the perception that crime is on the rise. There is the perception that schools are unsafe. And certainly when we perceive our lives to be unsafe, you act in accordance with that. There's a reason why one of the largest growing gun ownership is actually Black women because of feelings of safety. So certainly there is an eradication of feelings of safety, security here in America. I think it's important to also recognize that what I said in my opening statement, that it's not just here at home that women and girls are being impacted. It is women and girls abroad who are being impacted by these failed foreign policies, and they are often placed in these vulnerable positions as well because we are not demonstrating substantial leadership.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carr, I live within that area that is not fully compatible with broadband, and I have several counties that are completely without the ability to have broadband, and yet I'm understanding $42 billion has been spent by the administration, and it's not out there. It's not happening, and the Democrats love to talk about all this money that they spend, but I think it's a lot like President Obama, where he had back in 2009 all this $787 billion that had to be spent within 6 weeks, and you can't even engineer a project in that time. Why is it that this $42 billion has not taken hold of giving people what they needed now to compete?
I think we've now gone to the opposite extreme. If you look at Texas alone, they're supposed to get $3.3 billion of the $42 billion to connect somewhere in the order of 628,000 homes and businesses that have nothing today, so millions of Texas. And what's happened is rather than focusing on quickly turning dirt or otherwise connecting Americans, they have spent time and wasted time adopting these DEI preferences, these climate change agendas, price controls. You know, we heard about some governors that supported this. Yes, everybody was excited about this. Once it was passed, the money was going to be spent. Every state wanted to benefit. They deserved to benefit. But Virginia, for instance, they were the first out of the gate, put their first application in. You know what happened? They had to wait and sit around while the Biden administration, under Vice President Harris's leadership, tried to force them to put in price controls that the state didn't want to do. So the good news is all this money has not been spent. It's largely still sitting there. There's time to correct course. Let's get rid of the extraneous political goals and just connect Americans.
It seems like to me that this is something that Republicans have gathered, and that's almost why the Supreme Court said, as it relates to the issue of abortion, we will let local people make their own decisions. We will provide the money, provide basic parameters around it, and let the states go and get things done. I think it's a model that's going to gain power this next year. Mr. Chairman, I yield back my time.